72, KB3RWT.
Okay, I'm net control over here on the net in about 10 minutes, so I don't have too long to talk. We'll see you on 7-2 in 5BB.
Roger that.
Hey, Jerry, KB3RWT in 5BB. Now repeat what you said earlier.
Bill, that was still on 8-8. Stand by IMS.
Sorry about that, N5BB clear.
Ham Fixin's Net, first and third Monday, 7 p.m., W5FC.
N5 IMS. This is N5BB.
N5 IMS. Go ahead, Bill.
Thanks, JJ. I forgot that to push the button to change the band. That's the trouble when you got a radio and you got both bands right there. I turned up the audio on the Irving repeater, but when I transmitted, the radio was still transmitting on the 88 repeater, the DARC repeater. And I saw the meter moving on 88, so I knew that something was going on, and I turned up the volume, and there you were. Oh, it's not the first time I'll do that, I'm sure. Yeah, this is a new FTM 400XD, and it's just operator error. How are you doing? Did you eat some black-eyed peas today?
No, not yet, but I think that's on the schedule for later on. But got two grandkids currently having a mild fever, so we're keeping an eye on them, and hopefully it's nothing major. But we're kind of watching that, especially because my wife and I are somewhat compromised. So we definitely want to make sure that nothing gets passed. But at least we're all vaxxed, so in theory, if we do get anything, it should be fairly mild. At least that's what we're hoping.
Understand. Well, I'm vaxxed for all kinds of things. In addition to the 3 COVID shots, the 2 main ones and the booster, last winter, well, this year, a couple months ago, I got the heavy-duty flu vaccine, the senior flu vaccine, the quadrivalent one. And I got, about a year ago, I got the pneumococcal, which is good against several different kinds of pneumococcal bacteria disease. And I got a tetanus, a Tdap, which is tetanus, the diphtheria, and some other stuff. So, and I got shingles vaccine. So I had shingles before. So, but you can get it again. So I got that. So I am really fully vaxxed up. Let the repeater die before I start the net. So anybody else listening, about 3 nets, I'm going to start Skynet. 73 JJ, and Happy New Year. This is N5BB.
Yeah, well, appreciate it. I figured that you were going to be talking on the other side of the radio, and you just, didn't have a right button push or something, so I figured I'd let you know so you wouldn't spend too much time messing around trying to figure out what was going on. But you have a good Skynet. I'll probably be listening, but maybe doing some chatting, because I'm still working on the computer. But with my hip, it's kind of hard to be facing one direction on the computer and facing the other direction to get to the radio mic. So you have a good net, and we'll talk to you later. N5 IMS monitoring 73
W5FC. MCOM net, second Monday at 7 p.m., W5FC.
Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Okay, does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin? Skynet, this is N5BB net control. This is November 5 Bravo Bravo. My name is Bill. I'll be your net control for this session of the Dallas Amateur Radio Club Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy and space. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the plus sign break in your call sign. Is there currently any emergency or priority traffic? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be N5BB, myself. And stations are reminded to identify at the end of your transmission. This weekly net operates on 146.88 megahertz with a PL zone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. And I am monitoring Echolink. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. You do not need to be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. This is N5BB, Skynet net control. The net is 90 minutes long, structured in several parts. I'll read through these very quickly. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, National Space Society, discussion topic of the evening by myself, the net control. What's up? Space exploration and space history, Constellation of the week, space launches of the week, recent astronomical discoveries, and visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, followed, if we have time, by astronomical questions and answers, and our 73 round. Again, all amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. Now let's start. First, let's go with short time check-ins. People that can't stay very long. If you can't stay very long, please come now with your call sign, name, and your location. This is N5BB, Skynet. Go ahead. Oh, this may be a short net. One more try. Do we have any short-time check-ins? If so, please come now. This is N5BB, net control, Skynet. do we have any general RF check-ins? RF check-ins. If so, please come now. Skynet RF check-ins. This is N5BB. Go ahead.
W5BLT. W5 Bravo Lima Tango Phil Garland.
Kilo India 5 Gulf Romeo Hotel Melissa Dallas.
Kilo Foxtrot 5 Juliet Hotel Alpha Chaz Mesquite. Happy New Year.
Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-Ray Tom Louisville.
Oscar Zulu, Brenda DeSoto.
Okay, let's pause. There was a double there. Brenda, you won. WB5OZC. Who doubled with Brenda right at the end after Tom? Who else was trying to transmit? This is N5BB. Well, that's interesting. A ghost double with you, Brenda. Okay, I recognize W5BLT. Hello, Bill. KI5GRT. Howdy, Melissa. KF5JHA, the infamous Chaz. KE5ICX, Mr. Tom, and WB5OZL. OZL. Do we have any other RF check-ins? This is N5BB. Skynet.
November 5 Alpha Julia Delta Aaron Dallas.
And I recognize N5AJD. Hello, Aaron. Do we have any other RF check-ins? This is N5BB.
Kilo Golf 5 Whiskey Victor Lima James.
I recognize KG5WVL. James, I can't remember. Are you in Arlington? James, what is your location?
Location is Carrollton.
Okay, not Arlington, but Carrollton. I got the ton correct, but everything else is wrong. Thank you, James. Okay, do we have any more RF check-ins before I go to Echolink? This is N5BB, Skynet. Heard somebody trying, but you gave up. Please try again. This is N5BB. Nothing heard. Let's look at Echolink. N5IMS, JJ, are you just monitoring, or do you want to talk? Okay, JJ's listen only. No problem, JJ. Next, KG5BZW. Hello, Jay. You want to check in?
Kilo Golf 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey J. Now, what have heard?
Very good, Jay. Welcome. Happy New Year. Let's see. K5ICX Tom, I already have you. Chaz, I already have Kelly, K5KTX. Would you like a check-in on voice? Hi, Kelly.
This is K5, KTX, Kilo 5, Kilo Tango X-Ray Kelly in San Antonio, or near San Antonio.
Well, very good, Kelly. K5KTX, this is N5BB. I got two cousins in San Antonio. Say hi to them. They're located over in the west side of town, between 410 and Anderson Loop, off of I-10, that general area out there, the medical district. Very good. They're both retired school teachers. Let's see, what's next? Next we have KF5THB. Hello, Brent and Henrietta. Do you want to come in on voice?
Again, KF5THB with 73.
Very good, Brent. Happy New Year to you. So I recognize Brent, and the last is Philip, KI5KTZ. Do you want to come in on voice, Philip?
Kilo India 5, Kilo Tango Zulu, Philip at White Rock Creek. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year to you, Philip. And I already have Aaron in 5AJD. Does anyone else want to check in to the Skynet this evening? If so, please come now. This is in 5BB.
Kilo 5, Juliet, Delta Whiskey, John and Coppell. Happy New Year.
Hi, John. Happy New Year. I recognize K5JDW. Okay, do we have anybody else coming to our little on-the-air Skynet party this evening? This is N5BB looking for more check-ins. One more time. Man, you were very scratchy. I think it was Max. I think it was something Sierra Zulu Papa. Please give me your call phonetically really slow and confirm your name is Max. And what's your location there, Max? Over.
This is Sierra Zulu Bravo Max in Royce City.
Okay. Is that November 5, Sierra Zulu Bravo? Is it Matt, M-A-T-T, in Royce City? Is that correct?
Negative. Kilo India 5.
Kilo India 5, Sierra Zulu Bravo. Your name is M-A-T-T, Matt, in Royce City. Is that correct?
Negative. Mike Alpha Extra is the name.
Very good, Max. KI5SZB, Max, in Royce City. You're out there a ways to the east, Max, but we got you that time. Thank you very much for checking into our little net here. Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to check in to Skynet? This is in 5BB. And yes, that was Max.
This is Alpha Alpha 5 Alpha Hotel Robert and Richards.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
recognize Robert, A5AH, and Bill, KF5ZBL. Do we have any other check-ins to Skynet? This is N5BB. Well, very good. Let's move ahead with the business of the net. Once I get my script back to where it's supposed to be. Now, do we have any general announcements? This is anything of interest to hams. Could be related to amateur radio, astronomy, space, anything of interest to general hams. If please come now with your call sign only. This is Skynet N5BB looking for general announcements. K5ICX, you're a little scratchy, Tom, but go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Just to remind everyone that the Dallas Amateur Radio Club monthly club meeting will be on the air. We originally planned to be in person, but obviously COVID had other plans for us. So please go to the website, w5fc.org, for additional information. It's always the first Tuesday. The board meeting is at 6 o'clock. This will be online, a video conference, and then the regular meeting will be at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure who is actually going to be doing the presentation, but it will be, presenting our new president and vice president as well as new board members. It's a new year. I think that's it, Bill. Back to you, KE5ICX.
Okay, I don't know if you meant it, but you said first it was on the air, and then you said the board meeting was going to be virtual via computer. Is the regular club, let me ask Bill, KF5ZBL. Bill, are both the board and the regular club meeting going to be virtual on the computer? This is N5BB.
Yes, Bill, both meetings will be via Google Meets. Go to the club calendar, w5fc.org, and get the link there and join us. But yes, so they'll both be virtual on the computer via Google Meets or on your phone or however you want to get in there. KFI's the deal.
Very good, thank you, Bill. Yeah, that strong wind that came in, this repeater's pretty scratchy tonight. Okay, very good. I hope you can hear me okay. Not that you necessarily want to hear my voice, but that's just the way it is. Oh, Kelly says that Max just got his license a couple of weeks ago. Very good, Max. Welcome to amateur radio. Welcome to amateur radio. We really appreciate you making this one of your early destinations as a new ham. Please let us know if we can help you with anything. Okay. The next item of business, other announcements. The Dallas and the Irving Amateur Radio Club are going to have a joint winter field day. And so far, this is still scheduled to be in person on Saturday, January the 29th. That's the last Saturday of January. It'll be starting 9 a.m. or something set up over at T.W. Richardson Park, which is a park in Irving. It's actually called T.W. Richardson Grove. It's near Highway 635, but you can find it by just doing a search for T.W., that's Tango Whiskey, Richardson Grove in Irving. And we'll do a winter field day there event with both clubs. We've done one other DARC event there a few months ago, and that worked out really well. So come join us on January the 22nd. Hopefully it won't be 20 degrees. And next, Currently, the Irving Amateur Radio Club, pending any COVID problems, is planning our Ham Fest the first Saturday of March. So pencil in on your calendar, Saturday, March the 5th, the Irving Ham Fest at the Bingo Hall in Irving. The Cowtown Ham Fest is also planned for the suburb of Fort Worth, southeast down near I-20. And I believe the Cowtown Ham Fest, is it January the 15th? Does anyone know which weekend the Cowtown Ham Fest is? Please come now. This is Inside BB.
KF5WL.
Go ahead, Bill.
January 14th, 15th, Saturday, Sunday. And I got one other announcement, too. Meeting on the air is tomorrow night on this repeater at 7 o'clock. So, another one for you. KF5WL.
Okay, I think you meant 14th and 15th, Friday and Saturday. Is that correct?
Oh, I take that back. Yeah, it is. I think, yes, 15th, 16th. Sorry. Yeah, it's 2 days, 15th, 16th.
Oh, I didn't know it continued on until Sunday. Okay. So it sounds like, anyway, it's 2 weeks from now. Cowtown Ham Fest. You should be able to Google that and find it. Do a web search. Cowtown Ham Fest in Forest Park or Forest Oak, whatever the name of that little town is. It's on the southeast end of Fort Worth. It's right south of I-20, and it's just east of Fort Worth down there. Okay. Do we have any other news, any kind of announcements before we start the other business of the net, or any late check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet. One general piece of space news, if you've been hiding under a rock and haven't heard it, is the James Webb Space Telescope launched successfully on December the 25th, Christmas Day. It was delayed from December 24th. So far, I haven't checked the last couple of hours, but as of midday today, all systems were go. Everything was working fine. They have unfurled there's a stabilization thing that goes in the back. They've extended that boom out to the rear, and they have opened up and extended the booms with the sun shield on them. And they're going to take a day off tomorrow, and starting on Monday, they're going to start tensioning the 5 layers of the shield. The James Webb Space Telescope has to remain very cold, and so it's got a 5-layer shield. It's got 5 of these plastic metal-coated layers, and it's going to, they're tensioned very carefully, independently, with independent little motors. And, but the good news is at least they've got the sun shield extended out there, and it all seems to be all there. That's the most critical part. And once they get it all tensioned, if that works correctly, they'll have a sigh of relief, because that's one of the hardest things. Of course, they do have to unfold the mirror. That's another hard thing. But anyway, it's on its way to the L2 point between the Earth and the Sun on the other side of the Moon's orbit. Okay. Do we have any other check-ins? Well, not yet. Let me go ahead. AMSAT has 2 nets available here locally. The Amateur Satellite Group has a net on this repeater on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. There will be no net on this coming Tuesday because it's the club meeting night. But all other Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m., you can check into the AMSAT net at 8 p.m. on this frequency. Then on Wednesday evenings, there is a net every Wednesday evening on the Arlington 147.14 megahertz repeater. It also has a 110.9 PL tone, has a positive offset. But that net on Wednesday evening starts at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater. There's also an Echolink AMSAT net you can find under groups looking for asterisk, AMSAT asterisk, an Echolink. There's also mini nets on this repeater. On Mondays, there's ham fixings, HamCom 101, ham fixings, then the fourth week geek net. If there is a fifth week, the surprise net. We told you what it was. It would be a surprise. And to be honest, we don't know what it is at this time. That's on Monday evenings on this repeater. This is Inside BB Skynet. Then on Tuesday evenings, the AMSAT net East on this repeater. On Friday evenings, there's the Cert City Simulation net. All kinds of emergency preparedness things at 8 p.m. on this repeater. Then on Saturday, we have the Night of Nets. We have TechNet at 7 p.m. We have Skynet, this net at 9 p.m. And at 10:30, we have Afterglow. We also have the ARL traffic nets on this repeater every evening at 6:30 p.m. Except for next Tuesday when it'll meet on the Irving repeater. At 10:30 p.m. every evening, the National Traffic System late net is at 10:30 p.m. on the Irving 147.12 megahertz repeater. Excuse me, 146.72 megahertz repeater. Anyone is welcome to check out any of these nets. Tom, you want to tell us about the Afterglow net tonight? I was not able to watch it because evidently the Peacock took it off of their thing when I tried listening to it today. So tell us about the Afterglow net tonight. This is Inside BB.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. I think you mentioned last week's net, too. I mentioned that January 1, we never know what's going to happen with any of the free streaming stuff. And indeed, like they have removed it, which means that next week's movie may be affected, too. At any rate, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, welcome aboard Sir Gritzer, not to be confused with Gritzer Howard, another ship on an alternate timeline. That's not important right now. Speaker comes to life. We know that you didn't have a choice in prison ships, and Spirit Galactic was overbooked this week, so you are stuck with us on Welcome Aboard. That's just a little intergalactic. Don't forget to fill out our onboard customer service. Sure, it gets to the right people. Also, some of you might have noticed the lifeless body of Captain Endicott in the flight deck, and perhaps, too, the ship off course. You may also notice an alien planet filling your windows, and saw our failed attempt to the passenger pod. We admit, we tried to kill you, but just remember, Spirit Galactic wouldn't have told you, and this instantly jettisoned you hours ago and contacted your loved ones asking for additional burial funds. So consider yourself lucky. We care about you. Not much. The ship continued its crash landing, leaving the occupants to their own devices. Even worse, the no smoking sign was lit. This would indeed be a bumpy night, and I probably should wordsmith this better, but anyway, it's pitch black, so we will be discussing tonight at 10:30 p.m. Vin Diesel. Back to you, Bill. Bye-bye here.
Okay, Tom, this is N5BB, Skynet. Just letting you know, you broke in and out many, many times. We got most of what you said, but if there's anything you could do to increase your power or signal, it would help, because you're breaking up pretty bad. Okay. One last chance. Do we have any other late check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet. Okay, Chaz, do you want to talk about the next Texas Astronomical Society meeting? This is N5BB. Go ahead, KF5JHA.
Thank you, Bill. Just before I begin that, how do I sound over the repeater? Am I breaking up or am I okay?
You're stronger than Tom this evening.
Well, I'm closer to the repeater, and I'm putting out 50 watts right now, so that's probably the reason why. This is Chaz, KF5JHA, and the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, January the 28th, 2022. That's, this year. At 7:30 p.m., the meeting will be held on Zoom. Dr. Noah Pearson from Montana State University, a graduate student there, will be our featured speaker, and I'll be speaking about gravity waves. Past club members will receive an email link to the Zoom meeting in advance of the meeting, usually about a week ahead of time. And the Saturday night public observing sessions that have been placed on hold because of COVID. We tried to do it, I think back in October, but then, of course, we've had increases, and so, it's been on hold. So we really haven't had it much over the last 2 years. One of the reasons why Skynet was picked to be on Saturday night was so that there'd be an opportunity for live reports from the past public observing sessions to be, held that are also on Saturday night. So check the Texas Astronomical Society Dallas website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about the meetings and public observing stations. I'm going to send this back to KF5. Oh, no, this is KF5JH. I'll send this back to N5BB. I'm trying to read Echolink at the same time.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Chaz. Yeah, you're scratchy, but you weren't really dropping out the same way Tom was. Anyway, I know everybody's scratchy, and I'm probably scratchy, so I apologize. Not much we can do about it. It's the wind on the repeater antennas. Okay, next we're going to talk about the National Space Society events and activities. This is N5BB. Bill. I am the membership director of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society. Our normal meeting time is the second Sunday of the month. So currently we're scheduled to have a virtual meeting, I believe. We've got to verify this, on Sunday, January the 9th. I don't yet know the meeting topic, but I believe it will be virtual. So if you have any interest in viewing that topic, whatever it is, you can email me at one of my two email addresses for this, space@byrom.net, that's SPACE at BYROM.net, or N5BB, that's like November 5, Bravo, Bravo, at ARRL.net. Either one will work, and I'll be glad to send you a pass to our virtual meeting on WebEx. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on WebEx. We have had very few events because of COVID. Right before the Omicron picked up real badly, we had an event on December the 12th at a church in South Lake with Wally Funk. and that worked out pretty good. And virtually over WebEx, there was a NASA engineer, head of the group that watches out for asteroids headed toward the Earth. And she talked to us from the Washington, D.C. area. Okay. Again, any questions about National Space Society, you can reach me at n5bb@arl.net. Now, next, before I move forward with the discussion topic of the evening, do we have any questions, comments, or late check-ins? This is N5BB.
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot India, WV4MFI, Ted Dallas Low Power.
Hello, Ted. Welcome and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. WB4MFI. This is Skynet, N5BB. Chaz reports that there's light snow flurries entering the DFW area right now. I didn't know we were getting any snow. That's interesting. I haven't noticed any here, but I'm not looking out the window continuously. Okay, do we have any other check-ins or comments before I continue? This is N5BB, Skynet. Okay, this is N5BB, Skynet Net Control. The discussion topic of the evening is going to be about the theory of gravity. In a test of this, making use of double pulsars. So it's an astronomical topic. This is from the news items. It's a one-page news item on the latest issue of Science magazine, the December 24th issue. This is Science, the magazine, a journal of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, AAAS. And it's got all kinds of things in it. As an example, the news items they talk about are lab studies about Omicron's COVID-19 behavior, vaccine strategy debate about Omicron, global vaccine shortfalls end in 2022, the National Institute of Health, Collins is stepping down, the article I'm going to talk about, and early migration may have spread Celtic languages. But there's other things talking about magnetic control of materials and all kinds of things. So it's any kind of science, paleontology, it's, you name it. Science magazine talks about it. Anyway, here is this article. It's not really a research article. It talks about research articles, though. The research article was a 56-page paper. Aren't you glad I'm not reading that? Which was in December in Physical Review X. That was the journal. So let me read this. With double pulsar, the theory of gravity passes the toughest test yet. Study 16 years in the making shows how gravity distorts orbits and slows down photons. This is by Daniel Clary in Science magazine. Since 2005, astronomers have monitored a pair of spinning neutron stars, two super-dense objects whirling around each other every 2.5 hours while emitting metronomic radio pulses. very, very regular radio pulses. That patient scrutiny has yielded the most wide-ranging tests yet of Albert Einstein's theory of gravity. Unsurprisingly, the general theory of relativity, as it's called, passed all the tests, leaving physicists both elated at the feat and disappointed that it yielded no clues to a theory of everything that would transcend general relativity. This is N5BB Skynet. The unusual astronomical system, the only known double pulsar, enabled the team to put general relativity to 7 tests, including the most precise measurements yet of how ripples in space-time, called gravitational waves, carry energy away from the stars, reducing their masses and causing their orbits to shrink. The system also displayed other effects that had never been measured before, including how photons from one of the stars slow down and bend as they pass through the intense gravitational field of the other. This is a really impressive suite of tests for general relativity, which of course passes, says Scott Ransom of the U.S. Radio Astronomical Observatory, who was not involved in the study. When the stellar duo was discovered in 2003, we didn't realize what sort of a gem it was, said Michael Kramer of the Max Planck Institute for Radio Astronomy, who led the study. The stars, collapsed stellar remnants made of tightly packed neutrons, have masses greater than the sun squeezed into balls the size of a city, generating intense gravitational fields. Their frenetic spins turn them into pulsars, emitting radio beams that sweep past Earth like a lighthouse. One of them every 2.8 seconds, the other every 23 milliseconds. So that's about a 40th of a second. Together, they act as 2 giant clocks, whirling in each other's intense gravity by looking for tiny variations in the pulse's timing, which reveals how gravity affects their orbits and the propagation of the photons themselves. Researchers can put relativity to extreme tests. This is Skynet N5BB Net Control. To measure the pulses, Kramer and his colleagues used 6 large radio telescopes around the globe, plus the very long baseline array, a set of 10 dishes spanning the United States. The fact that the team just kept on observing the pulsars month after month for years without publishing any results became a running joke among colleagues. It's been a long time coming, says Cherry Ng of the University of Toronto's Dunlap Institute for Astronomy and Astrophysics, who commends the team for its mammoth effort. Combining data from multiple telescopes is not an easy task. When the 56-page paper landed last week in Physical Review X, researchers felt it was worth the wait. It's an incredible paper and is incredibly thorough, Ransom says. In total, the team says, general relativity agrees with the observations to a level of at least 99.99%. is N5BB, Skynet Net Control, on the Dallas Amateur Radio Club repeater. The measurements were so precise that some couldn't be explained by general relativity's simpler predictions. For example, how gravity slows time, shifts light toward longer wavelengths, and ratchets the axis of elliptical orbits forward slightly on each revolution, an effect called precession. Theorists had to factor in other, more esoteric predictions of Einstein's theory, such as the way a dense spinning mass twists the space-time around it, and the way extreme gravity can distort the shape of an orbit. The latter is a subtle effect that's never been measured before, says Ransom, who is impressed about just how many of these higher-order effects they had to invoke. This is N5BB, Skynet Net Control. Although confirming general relativity is satisfying, researchers want to find a chink in its armor one day. General relativity cannot be a complete description of how the universe works because, as everyone knows, it cannot be reconciled with that other pillar of modern physics, quantum mechanics. An unexplained gravitational aberration might hint at a path to a more complete theory. But the double pulsar results only make it harder to conjure up other theories consistent with the data, says team member Thibault Damour of the Institute for Advanced Scientific Studies near Paris. This is N5BB, Skynet Net Control. In addition to a test bed for relativity, the double pulsar may offer a window into the interior of pulsars. To understand the behavior of the densely packed neutrons, researchers need to know a pulsar's density. Its mass can be determined easily from its orbit, but size, the other factor in density, is harder to gauge. A subtle coupling between the spin of each pulsar and its orbit, predicted by general relativity, could provide a way to calculate its radius if the coupling could be measured accurately enough. Ransom, who calls pulsar size the holy grail, says he had hoped the double pulsar researchers might be able to pin it down, but they were only able to set size limits. It proved much trickier to pick out. More patience will be needed. Ransom points out that in pulsar studies, the longer you observe, the better accuracy you achieve. In 10 or 20 more years, he says, the team may be able to bear down even further. It gets much better with time. So they've been looking at these things since 2005. So that's what, 16 years, coming up on 17? And they may need to wait another 16 or more years to get more accuracy. Okay, that's all. Are there any comments, questions, or additional check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet at Control. Go ahead. Nothing heard. Now it's time for Chaz again. Chaz, what's up? This is N5BB.
Oh, I hope I'm readable. You were getting scratchier and scratchier. Happy New Year once again. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree's in astrophysics. I am in charge of the astrophysics lab and geology lab at the Dallas College on the Brookhaven campus. And we call this segment of Skynet What's Up. Slide Master, slide number 2, please. On December the 26th, the moon was at its third quarter phase, so the current phase of the moon is a waning crescent. Today, on January the 1st, 2022, the moon is at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth, and at a distance of 358,033 kilometers. On January the 2nd, that's tomorrow, the moon is new. On January the 9th, the moon is at its first quarter phase. On January 13th, the moon is at apogee, which is some point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 405,805 kilometers. Full moon will be on January the 17th. Slide number 3, please. On the night of January 3rd and 4th, a quadrantid meteor shower will be with a maximum of around 120 meteors per hour of observing in dark, clear skies far away from the city lights. I always suggest that you visit a Texas state park. There are 80 parks and wildlife refuges in Texas State Park System and Wildlife. It's a good thing to do. You can even get annual membership, which reduces your fees for camping. Slide number 4, please. On January the 4th, 2022, at 12:55 a.m. Central Standard Time, the Earth will be at its perihelion. This is the point on the Earth's orbit where the Earth is closest to the Sun. The Earth being closer or further away from the Sun does not determine the seasons, but rather the tilt of the Earth's axis of rotation. When the Earth's northern hemisphere is pointed toward the Sun, that is when it is summer. And when the northern hemisphere is pointed more away from the Sun, that is when it's winter time. So it's the tilt of the Earth's axis that causes the seasons. Slide number 5, please. On January the 4th, 2022, also on the 4th, in the southwestern evening sky, you can find the moon and Saturn in conjunction in the western sky. Just shortly after sunset. Excuse me, I had a sneeze. I didn't want to key up while I was sneezing. Slide number 6, please. On the next evening, on January the 5th, in the southwestern evening sky, you can observe the moon and Jupiter in conjunction. And slide number 7, on July the 13th, the two planets, Mercury and Saturn, will be just a few degrees apart in their conjunction in the southwestern evening sky just after sunset. Slide number 8, please. On January the 29th, the moon and Mars will be in conjunction with Venus very close beside them in the early morning southeastern sky. And slide number 9, on January the 30th, the moon is now in conjunction with the planet Mercury in the early morning southeastern sky. It may be difficult to see this conjunction due to strong twilight, and that the conjunction is going to be very low in the sky as well. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide number 10, please. Once again, the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, January the 28th, 7:30 p.m. The meeting will be held on Zoom, and Dr. Noah Pearson from Montana State University will be the featured speaker about gravity waves. Just heard about that a little bit, didn't we? Club members will receive the link to the Zoom meeting in advance. Also, the public observing sessions have been put on hold because of COVID. Hopefully, sometime next year we'll be able to start doing that in person. To get more information, go to texasastro.org for up-to-date information about the club meeting and observing sessions. Slide Master, slide number 11, please. Do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on any of the information? Or do you just have a general astronomy the question. I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Well, I did have someone recently tell me that when they were out in the countryside, they were able to make an observation of Comet Leonard. Inside the city, I haven't heard anybody being able to spot it inside the city, but this person's far out away from the city lights and actually was able to see it. I think it was on Tuesday evening, if I remember right, when I heard that they observed it. So it's not as bright as Comet Neowise was a year and a half ago. Comet Leonard is much fainter, much shorter tail, and because of that, in the city, you're probably going to see it. I never saw Neowise inside the city. Okay, slide number 12, please. So as the moon waned at the end of December, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live. And until next week, actually, I'll be doing another Skynet segment in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is KF5JHA, back to our net control N5BB. It's all yours, Bill.
Well, very good, Chaz. This is N5BB Skynet. Do we have any late check-ins? Ooh, we just found out that Kelly is chasing some birds, a falcon that eats bats. Wow! Wow, that is amazing, Kelly. And Kelly, it's your time. It's time for space exploration and space history. Kelly, tell us about the James Webb Space Telescope, K5KTX, and this is N5BB Skynet.
Bill, this is K5KTX, and hopefully I'm coming through okay on Echo Link. I am in San Antonio, so I'm not able to be on the repeater with y'all tonight. Happy New Year. Well, as Bill said earlier, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably James Webb Space Telescope successfully launched a week ago on Christmas Day. And so far, everything is going well, and the Ariane 5 rocket provided such a precise launch that the NASA team has determined that Webb should have enough fuel to allow support of science operations for significantly more than a 10-year science lifetime. The observatory has been folded up, origami style, to fit inside the rocket for launch. Webb is now in the complex and intricate process of unfolding in space. Over about the next 2 weeks, NASA will provide broadcast coverage, media briefings, and other updates on major deployment milestones. Broadcasts of milestone events will air live on NASA TV, the NASA app, and the agency's website. As of today, Webb completed the deployment of the right or starboard sun shield boom, and it has completed just over 54% of the distance out to L2. Is a shorthand for the second Lagrange point, a wonderful accident of gravity and orbital mechanics, and the perfect place to park the Webb telescope in space. There are 5 so-called Lagrange points, areas where gravity from the Sun and Earth balance the orbital motion of a satellite. Putting a spacecraft at any of these points allows it to stay in a fixed position relative to the Earth and Sun with a minimal amount of energy needed for course correction. L2 may sound futuristic and mysterious, but the name actually honors a mathematician born in 1736. The Lagrange points were named after the Italian-born mathematician and astronomer Joseph Louis Lagrange, who made important contributions to classical and celestial mechanics. Lagrange studied the three-body problem, so called because 3 bodies are orbiting each other for the Earth, Sun, and Moon in 1764. And by 1772, he had found the solution. There are 5 stable points at which you could put an object and have it stay fixed in place relative to the other 2. case of L2, this happens about 930,000 miles away from the Earth in the exact opposite direction from the Sun. The Earth, as we know, orbits the Sun once a year. Normally, an object almost 1 million miles further out from the Sun should move more slowly, taking more than a year to complete its orbit around the Sun. However, at L2, exactly lined up with both the Sun and Earth, the added gravity of the two large bodies pulling it in the same direction gives the spacecraft an extra boost of energy, locking it into perfect unison with the Earth's yearly orbit. The Webb telescope will be placed slightly off the true balance point in a gentle orbit around L2. Why send the Webb telescope all the way out to L2? When astronomers began to think about where the Webb telescope should be placed in space, there were several considerations to keep in mind. To begin with, the Webb telescope will view the universe entirely in infrared light, what we commonly think of as heat radiation. To give the telescope the best chance of detecting distant, dim objects in space, the coldest temperatures possible are needed. Webb's large sun shield will protect it from both sunlight and earthlight, allowing it to cool to minus 370 degrees Fahrenheit. For the sun shield to be effective, Webb will need to be in an orbit where the sun and Earth are in about the same direction. In comparison, the Hubble Space Telescope is in low Earth orbit, where it goes in and out of the Earth's shadow every 90 minutes. Hubble's view is blocked by the Earth for part of each orbit, limiting where the telescope can look at any given time. A major perk of parking at L2 is the ease of communications. Essentially, the Webb telescope will always be at the same point in space. We can have continuous communications with Webb through the Deep Space Network. Coming days, the team will separate and then individually tension each of the 5 sun shield layers, stretching them into their final taut shape. This will create space between the membranes to allow heat to radiate out, making each successive layer of the sun shield cooler than the one below. Webb's deployment sequence is a human-controlled process that provides the team with the flexibility to pause, assess data, and adjust as needed. The timing and order of all the milestones may therefore change. NASA will host live broadcast coverage to mark the following milestones with specific times and dates updated as they approach. Sun shield tensioning, the full deployment of the sun shield, the most challenging element for Webb, will mark a critical milestone for the mission. This step is scheduled for completion no earlier than tomorrow, Sunday, January the 2nd. Secondary mirror support structure deployment. The support structure that holds the secondary mirror in position to focus light collected by the primary mirror is set for deployment no earlier than Tuesday, January the 4th. Webb's deployment complete with the unfolding of the second of Webb's primary mirror wings. The Webb team will have completed all observatory deployments, and this is scheduled to take place about 13 days after launch or no earlier than Friday, January the 7th. Be sure to stay tuned to NASA.gov and the NASA app and TV to see all of those milestones happening. Now, in space history this week, starting with December the 27th, back in 1999, STS-103 Space Shuttle Discovery landed after completing the 3rd Hubble telescope repair mission. The crew was in space during Christmas, which was only the 3rd time U.S. astronauts had spent the holiday in space. The mission had originally been scheduled for launch 6 months later in June of 2000, but when the gyroscopes needed to properly point the telescope began to fail, the 3rd servicing mission was split into 2 parts. By the time that STS-103 launched, the Hubble Space Telescope was operating in safe mode because 4 of its 6 gyroscopes had failed. Over the course of 3 spacewalks, the crew of STS-103 replaced the gyroscopes, upgraded Hubble's onboard computer, and made many other upgrades. The telescope was released by Discovery's crew on Christmas Day, 1999, and the crew landed 2 days later. The second part of servicing Mission 3 was flown in March 2002 on Space Shuttle Columbia as Mission STS-109. December the 30th, back in 1930, Robert Goddard launched his first flight from Roswell, New Mexico. Goddard was a pioneer in the use of liquid-fueled rockets, and this was his fifth rocket test flight. He had moved to Roswell earlier in 1930 so as to have plenty of wide-open spaces for his tests and less public attention. An attempt to fly this rocket on December 22nd had failed when the rocket came off the launcher rails. After making some changes, including painting part of the tanks and vanes a bright red for better tracking, the attempt on December 30th was success, reaching an altitude of 2,000 feet. On January the 1st, in 1801, the dwarf planet Ceres became the first body of the asteroid belt to be discovered when Giuseppe Piazzi spotted it. Ceres is the largest object in the asteroid belt with a radius of 296 miles. NASA's Dawn spacecraft entered orbit around Ceres in March 2015. Originally considered a planet, it was reclassified as an asteroid in the 1850s after the discovery of dozens of other objects in similar orbits. In 2006, it was reclassified again as a dwarf planet, though it has also been given a dual designation as both a dwarf planet and an asteroid. And finally this week, in astronaut birthdays over the last week, December the 29th, we have two. Nancy Curie Gregg, who was part of several space shuttle missions, STS 57, 70, 88, and 109. And also on December the 29th was Barry Butch Wilmore, who was part of Space Shuttle Mission STS 129, Expedition 4142, and he is the commander, or scheduled to be the commander of the Boeing CFT launch, whenever that's going to happen. It just says 2022 sometime. December the 30th, Charles Bassett was assigned as the pilot for Gemini 9 with Elliott C., but they both died in a T-38 training crash. Also born on December the 30th was Daniel Berry, 3 space shuttle missions, STS 72, 96, and 105. And December the 30th, Stephen Smith was born. Let's see, 4 space shuttle missions, STS 68, 82, 103, and 110. And finally, on December the 31st, Martin Fettman, who was on Space Shuttle Mission STS 58. And that's all I've got this evening. This is K5KTX.
Very good, Kelly. This is N5BB. Do we have any check-ins or questions or comments for Skynet? Late check-ins, please come now. This is N5BB, Net Control. Yeah, you mentioned the Boeing Skyliner program, Starliner. If anybody could tell us when that thing would actually be fully operational, they'd be a lot smarter than any of the rest of us, because that's been delayed so many times. But NASA's really going to depend on it. I noticed that NASA just they increased their purchase of SpaceX Falcon 9 launches to the ISS because they don't think the Starliner is going to be ready for a while. It's pretty obvious. Okay, next, it's time for Chaz again. And with his jokes that come along with Chaz. Chaz, tell us about Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. This is N5BB, Skynet.
Thank you, Bill. Once again, good evening, everyone. Kelly, there is something that you left off the history list in about 2 weeks. In fact, 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Skynet. Now, I need to suggest that we have some cake and ice cream. What do you think? I think that's appropriate. Who's going to blow out the candles is what I want to know. Okay, slide number 13. Thank you, Tom, for bringing up the slide. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of the silent key, Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year, out of the 88 total constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky over Texas in a year. In her honor, we've continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's constellation of the week this week is Pisces, the fishes, or fish, and Cetus, the sea monster. Yeah, fish or fishes is the proper plural of either way, yeah. The constellation of Pisces, the fishes, or fish, is based upon a Roman myth about Venus and her son, Cupid. Venus and Cupid are also known as Aphrodite and Eros in Greek mythology. In the story, briefly retold by Jeffrey Cornelius in his book, The Star-Lore Handbook, Venus and Cupid were startled by the monster Typhon, but Venus knew that they could escape by water. She grabbed Cupid and they plunged into the sea, where they were both transformed into fishes. To ensure that they would not lose each other, they tied themselves together with a cord. In the heavens, we see Mother and Son and the cord that binds them in love. And that's the constellation of Pisces. Slide Master, slide number 14, please. Ooh, I'm glad this part doesn't sound like it's getting sketchier. I think it's still doing much better than it was earlier. Oh, this is the reason why you stayed here a long time tonight, are the jokes that I like to tell. They're related, of course, to the constellations. Why did the fish get bad grades? I think I told this one earlier when we had another fish constellation, but because it was below C, S-E-A, or the letter C level. Okay, I thought that was funny. What do you call a fish with 2 legs? A two-knee fish? Okay, maybe that was a stretch. Why don't fish like playing basketball? Because they're terrified of nets. I guess they'd stay away from Skynet too, wouldn't they? What do you call a group of whales that play music? An orchestra. Cetus is a sea monster or whale, so these are whale jokes now. What did the whale eat for lunch? Fish and ships. Okay. How do you get 2 whales in a car? Well, you first start in England and then drive west. And if you're not familiar with geography, I guess you don't get that one. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 15, please. Arisha, which is also Alpha Pisceum, is the Arabic for cord. This refers to the cord that ties the 2 fishes together. Arisha is a binary star whose members shine at magnitude 4.2 and 5.2 with an orbital period of about 730 years. The system lies about 100 light years away. The double is a bit of a challenge to split, as 2 stars are only 1.8 arc seconds apart. If you can split them, then you have a very good seeing night. The stars will continue to get closer to each other until around the year 2060, the time of periastron. Here's a good word for a crossword puzzle. Periastron. Pisces 1, let me quote from a Spectrum article. Spectrum is the newsletter for the Texas Astronomical Society. This star system is a simple pair of blue-white stars, both at a magnitude of plus 5 or so. They are separated about 30 arc seconds, making it an easy split for even the smallest telescopes, and that's Pisces 1. Zeta Pisceum, Vernon's Celestial Handbook describes Zeta Pisceum as a fine, easy double star located virtually on the ecliptic. The earliest record of this binary nature was William Herschel in 1781, and has shown no change in position of the 2 components since then, even though proper motion studies show that 2 stars are a true physical pair. there is also some color contrast between the two stars. One displays a lilac color, interesting, the other a nice pale yellow color. Slide number 16, please. M74 is the only Messier object in the constellation of Pisces. M74 is a fine example of a large face-on spiral galaxy. However, it is often referred to as the most difficult of all the Messier objects to see because of its low surface brightness, spread over a relatively large area of about 10 arc minutes. Stephen James Amira has nicknamed M74 the Phantom. It requires a dark, moonless sky to find because light pollution and moonlight completely overwhelm it. In addition to dark skies, good sky transparency helps immensely both in finding M74 and trying to see any details. Slide number 17, please. Which the constellation of Cetus, the sea monster. It is a sea monster, but in other circles it's called a whale. Most of the mythology associated with Cetus has it as a sea monster. It's best known as the monster that was sent by Poseidon to devour Andromeda, chained to the rock by the sea as a punishment for the vanity of her mother, Cassiopeia. The story has a happy ending. Andromeda is rescued by Perseus, who flew he flew on the back of the winged horse Pegasus. However, it must be made known that the constellation Cetus is also known as a Leviathan or a sea monster by ancient Chaldeans and Babylonians long before the time of the classic Greek method. Slide number 18, please. Omicron Ceti. The star. It's also known as Myra, which means wonderful. It is a famous variable star. Famous astronomer David Fabricius first noticed it from his observations dating in 1596 and 1609, and its true character was ascertained by an astronomer of Holland in 1638, making the observations and brightness estimates of Myra, and the first established record of an intrinsically variable star. Algol and Perseus had been known as a variable star since ancient times, but we now know that it is an eclipsing binary star, not a true variable star. Myra is the first true variable star to be recognized as such. Myra varies from a maximum magnitude of 3.4 to a minimum of 9.3. Usually, but it has been seen to brighten a little bit more than 3.4 magnitude, and sometimes it gets slightly dimmer than 9.3. It has an average period of 331 days, but its extreme irregularities involved as well. Sometimes it can go for several years below naked eye brightness. Myra is about 220 light years from our solar system, the type M, or red star. Myra is a binary star system with a very faint bluish sub-dwarf companion that orbits around it. The star itself is revealed changing from 10th to 12th magnitude and back again over a period of time. Sorry, I don't have the length of time for that variable star. Alpha Ceti, Menkar is another name for it, is depicted as a sea monster instead of a whale. Menkar is almost located on the monster's open jaws. In spite of this, the Arabic name Menkar means nose. Menkar is a red-orange star shining at magnitude 2.5. It's about 150 light years away. Menkar forms a wide visual double with a fifth magnitude star, 93 Ceti, located 15 arc minutes north. The color contrast makes it a beautiful sight in binoculars or a low-powered telescope. Slide master, slide number 19, please. M77 is a spiral galaxy, otherwise known as NGC 1068. Burnham's Celestial Handbook notes that a chief member of this group of galaxies, which includes NGC 1055, 1073, 1087 and 1090, which would make up an interesting group of targets for owners of large aperture, wide field, observing and light buckets. Burnham further notes that M77 is an unusual system containing 3 to 6 sets of spiral arms. Slide number 20, please. NGC 246 is a planetary nebula known as the Skull Nebula. It is fairly large and bright planetary, and Dave Hutchinson writes in his article in the Spectrum Newsletter, it's easily spotted in an 8-inch Smith-Cassegrain telescope. Mr. Keppel and Mr. Sanders' notes in the Night Sky Observing Guide confirm this, with much more detail being shown in a 12 to 14-inch telescope. The nebula shines at magnitude 10.9, with a bit over 4 arc minutes in diameter, so it is definitely not a class of those planetary nebulas that are so small they look like stars. So you can actually see this as an object and not just as a pinpoint. And this is KF5, JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide number 21, please. A few more astronomically observing program objects in the constellation of Pisces the fish and Cetus the sea monster. I've just given you a sampling of a few of those. The Astronomical League has, I believe, 73 different observing programs, most of which have about 100 objects. If you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can receive and earn a certificate and a pen in about a year. Slide number 22, and that is Miss Killen's constellation of the week, or I should say constellations, Pisces the fishes, and Cetus the sea monster. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for the research and words on deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and steal every week. And also at times I use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Now next time, my plan is to look at 2 more constellations, Fornax, the furnace, that might be appropriate for night with the cold weather, and Redness, the river. And this is KF5, JJ, sending it back to our net control. Bill, N5BB.
Well, thank you, Chaz. This is N5BB, net control for Skynet. Do we have any late check-ins, questions, or comments? If so, please come down. Okay. Tom, do we have any space launches of the week we can whiz through? This is N5BB.
Bill, I'm going to go ahead and yield my time to Brenda. She has an article, and yes, I just wanted to mention it. In 2 weeks, it will be the 10th anniversary of Skynet. We'll have a couple of interesting features, special features that evening. Let you know that. KE586.
Sounds like a plan, Tom. Brenda, WB5OZL. Tell us about how the Earth and Mars were formed from inner solar system material. This is N5BB. Go ahead, Brenda.
This is WB5OZL. This article is entitled Earth and Mars Were Formed from Inner Solar System Material. Approximately 4.6 billion years ago, in the early days of our solar system, a disk of dust and gases orbited the young sun. 2 theories describe how, in the course of millions of years, the inner rocky planets formed from this original building material. According to the older theory, the dust in the inner solar system agglomerated to even larger chunks, gradually reaching approximately the size of our moon. Collisions of these planetary embryos finally produced the inner planets Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. A nearer theory, however, prefers a different growth process. Millimeter-sized dust pebbles migrated from the outer solar system towards the sun. On their way, they were accreted onto the planetary embryos of the inner solar system and step-by-step enlarged them to their present size. Both theories are based on theoretical models and computer simulations aimed at reconstructing the conditions and dynamics in the early solar system. Both describe a possible path of planet formation, but which one is right? Which process actually took place? To answer these questions, in their current study, researchers from the University of Munster, Germany, and the Observatoire de someplace in France. I'm going to skip past that. They determined the exact composition of the rocky planets Earth and Mars. We wanted to find out whether the building blocks of Earth and Mars originated in the outer or inner solar system, said Dr. Christoph Burkhardt of the University of Munster, the study's first author. To this end, the isotopes of the rare metals titanium, zirconium, and molybdenum found in minute traces in the outer silicon-rich layers of both planets provide crucial clues. Isotopes are different varieties of the same element, which differ only in the weight of their atomic nucleus. Scientists assumed that in the early solar system, these and other metal isotopes were not evenly distributed. Rather, their abundance depended on the distance from the sun. They therefore hold valuable information about where in the early solar system a certain body's building blocks originated. As a reference for the original isotopic inventory of the outer and inner solar system, the researchers used two types of meteorites. These chunks of rock generally found their way to Earth from the asteroid belt, the region between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. They are considered to be largely pristine material from the beginnings of the solar system, while so-called carbonaceous klondites, which can contain up to a few percent carbon, originated beyond Jupiter's orbit and only later relocated to the asteroid belt due to influence of the growing gas giants. Their more carbon-depleted cousins, the non-carbonaceous chondrites, are true children of the inner solar system. The precise isotopic composition of Earth's accessible outer rock layers and that of both types of meteorites have been studied for some time. However, there have been no comparably comprehensive analyses of Martian rocks. In their current study, the researchers now examined samples from a total of 17 Martian meteorites, which can be assigned to 6 typical types of Martian rock. In addition, the scientists, for the first time, investigated the abundances of 3 different metal isotopes. This thing goes on for a while, and we are almost out of time, so I'm going to stop there. You can go to ScienceDaily.com to see the rest of it if you'd like. So back to net, WB5OZL.
Okay, Brenda, this is Inside BB. Net control for Skynet.
Normal state.
Do we have any last check-ins, questions, or comments? This is Inside BB. Okay. Tom, any incredibly important visible satellite passages before we close the net?
Yeah, go ahead and close it down, Bill.
Okay, very good. So, sounds like we've done everything we need to do. We've asked for check-ins and everything. So tonight we had 18 hams participating in the net. Thank you very much to everybody participating on the first day of 2022. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow
on
movie
this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the other Dallas Amateur Radio Club nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls or send an email to nets at w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about the net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as your audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. Until next Saturday night, this is N5BB, Bill, and I'll be closing a net and returning the repeater with normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. If you're looking for the traffic net, it's over on the 146.72 megahertz repeater, as it always is at 10:30. Good evening, and I'm going to turn it over to Tom now for Afterglow. N5BB clear. Good night. Stay warm.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. This is KE5ICX. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back, and tonight's movie is Pitch Black from 2000, the Vin Diesel science fiction movie that started the franchise of all 3 movies. So come back in about 5 minutes, and we will discuss the movie. This is KE5ICX.
Okay, Tom. Well, I will not be participating in Afterglow because I was tardy and I didn't look at the video before it was removed from Peacock. I am a Peacock member, but that wasn't good enough. When I tried, it says, we can't find that video. Anyway, good night. Keep warm. I've looked outside. I don't see any snow flurries here, but I'm sure it's really cold out there. K5ICX in the group N5BB. Happy 2022.
we are back for the Afterglow Movie Net, and tonight's movie is Pitch Black. Hopefully you saw it before midnight last night because it went off of the free stream over on Peacock, which means also The Chronicles of Riddick, which is the next movie that was on our list, is also off the record, off the stream. That's okay. Hopefully you saw it. We're not going to change it for tonight. Several of us actually watched it Friday evening. We watch it together separately and have for years. Start at 8 o'clock and go until the movie's over, and we put little chat messages back and forth over on the Facebook pages. Do it that way. So, what is this film? Oh, by the way, this is Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-ray 85 ICX South Internet Control for tonight. So, this movie is a 2000 American science fiction horror film, and it was by a couple of people, Ken and Jim Wheat, others. From the story conceived from the latter, the film starred Diesel, Radha Mitchell, Cole Hauser, and Keith David. Dangerous criminal Richard T. Riddick, played by Diesel, is being transported to a prison in a spaceship. When the spaceship is damaged by a comet debris, and makes an emergency crash landing on an empty, deserted planet, or desert planet, I should say. Riddick escapes, however, when predatory alien creatures begin attacking the survivors, Riddick joins forces with the surviving crew and other passengers to develop a plan to escape the planet. This was the final film credit for Polygram Filmed Entertainment, and I saw that. Even though they did movies, I guess they did. Universal Pictures, when it merged with Universal Pictures, shot on a budget of $23 million. It received mixed reviews that praised some promising story elements and look, but criticized the lack of exploration of the alien world that recycles human conflict, citing it as weaker than The Arrival, which is another movie done by the director. Despite this, it was a sleeper hit, grossing over $53 million worldwide and developing its own cult following, particularly around the anti-hero Riddick. There was a sequel, Chronicles of Riddick, which was released in 2004, 5 years later by Universal. Diesel was back, title character, and the director, Closey, returning as writer and director. A third film, simply titled Riddick, was released in 2013. So rather than reading through the whole storyline here, you kind of got a picture of the thing. They do manage to escape, well, some of them, and leave the planet, and of course, the end of the movie. So what I will do is this. I'm going to go ahead and take check-ins. Just come with your call sign, your name, and did you see the movie? You do not have to have seen the movie to talk about it this evening. If you've seen any of the Riddick films, that might work for you. Or, as, cases where everybody gets wiped out in a horror story. We can talk about that too. We always find something somewhere. So please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see, what is this movie? Pitch Black from 2000. Here we go. Okay, Bill, W5VLT, I do have you. You're really weak into the repeater tonight. Of course, everybody's been because of the winds, but I do have you checked in. I think we had this problem last week, and you managed to fix it. Whatever you did last time, try it again. Additional check-ins, please come out.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda in DeSoto. Yes, I saw the movie.
5, Echo Bravo Bravo. Yes, I saw the movie.
Okay, we picked up Brenda, WB50ZL. She saw the movie, and W5EDV David saw the movie. Anyone else want to join us? Please come out.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, I seen the movie.
Okay, we picked up Sean, KB9. Okay. Anyone else that would like to check in? Anyone else want to check in? Please come in. All right, let's go on over to Echolink. I was very bad last time, and I did not do Echolink first round last week, so we'll go ahead and do it now. Anyone on Echolink? I see Jay. Jay, you want to check in? You're the only guy. Well, here. Oh, Bill's there too. Excellent. All right. Jay, this is KG5BZW. You want to check in?
This is KG5BZW. Sorry. I'll check in. I did see at least part of the film. KG5BZW.
All right, Jay, I've got you in KG5BZW. You said you saw a lot of the film, so I'll put you down for that. All right, let's go ahead and start with who we've got, and I'll ask at the end of the bottom of the list any additional check-ins. So we'll start with Bill, W5BLT. Bill, give it a shot. What did you think? Oh, and we talked about, let me tell you this, although everybody who did knows this, we talked about the plot first. If you saw the film, what did you think of the plot? And then the second round, we usually talk about characterization and the actors and how convincing they were. Second round, third round is just about any and everything you want to discuss. It could be music, special effects, something about the film that you thought was quite good or not so good, as the case may be. So we'll start at the top. W5BLT, Bill, what did you think of the plot for Pitch Black from 2000 from KE5ICX?
I didn't get to see the movie before it was pulled off, so I'm just here for the popcorn and to eavesdrop on the net tonight. I'll probably drink a large soda while I'm at it. But yeah, I didn't get to see the movie, unfortunately. When I went today, it was taken down. W5BLT, back to net control.
I know normally you see the film, so I just assumed maybe you got it under the wire. Yeah, that's a problem. Just a note to everyone, that is a problem when doing any of the streaming films, is that as we get towards the end of the month, and in this case, the end of the year, the stream will disappear a lot of times. I normally try and get more than one stream location. Some of the films that we have been out for a long time, and they do stream in multiple locations at the same time, so I try and put those in. This was not one of those. Excellent quality, by the way, as far as the picture quality and everything, but unfortunately, 2021 was the end of the Riddick films over on the Peacock website, streaming website. Okay, next up is Brenda, WB5OZL. Ms. Brenda, what did you think of the plot for Pitch Black from 2000?
This is WB5OZL. I thought the plot was pretty good. It was engaging, and it flowed well. It was interesting. There were some things that weren't terribly believable. We've got this waterless desert planet, and all these animals, whatever these were, these flying things living there, like what did they eat and what they used for water. I just, couldn't buy into the fact that this thing was heavily populated by some kind of critters. Also, I found it a little hard to sort out all the characters in the beginning. They did explain it, a lot of it as time went on, but to me it was just a little bit vague as to exactly what was going on and who was who and all of that. But aside from that, it was in generally a pretty good story. It was a good, I know this isn't plot, good character story study, and the relationships of the people were, a big part of the plot, which is, not as science fiction-y as some other movies, but some interesting concepts in this. I can't believe they spent only $23 million making this with these spaceships and all that, and the sets. But, well, they did. So, anyway, I'm going to turn it back to Net. This is WB5OZL.
All right, thanks, Brenda. Next up is David, W5EBB. David, what did you think about the plot for Pitch Black from 2000? This is KE5ICX.
Well, I thought it was pretty good. I remember this movie from way back. I hadn't watched it in probably 10 years. I now see it more for what it is. It's kind of a copy of Aliens with a little bit of the Terminator at the very end when the heroine kind of rescues and get up, soldier, that scene at the end. But it's mostly an Aliens ripoff, and but it, hey, why not go ahead and reproduce a movie that was successful? And this one was pretty good at what it was doing, and the kind of eerie backdrop of the brightly lit triple sun day, and then the eerie pitch black night was a good contrast, and the whole set, that sort of feel of the environment was a character in itself, but it really kind of drove the movie. And this is really a showcase for Vin Diesel, and his character in particular is really compelling in this movie, I thought. The rest of them are, well, I'm getting into characters, but it really, like Brenda said, this is more of a character study type movie. The action is pretty straight ahead, and nothing too surprising about that. But overall, pretty good movie. W5EBB.
All right, very good. Good analysis. KB9SOK. Sean, your thoughts on the plot for Pitch Black?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, as everybody said, it's a pretty straightforward plot. Your typical, like you mentioned, Tom, it's, survival kind of scary kind of movies, where you obviously usually only one or two people survive at the end. But I did like it. I did actually enjoy it. I remember seeing this originally. They did have a little bit of twist there with, at the beginning, you really didn't know, who the bad guy was, unless you've seen the movie before. And, at the end, yes, he was kind of the anti-hero. In the end, he ultimately did do the right thing, but had to be coaxed into it. yeah, not super deep, but still, I think there's a nice few little twists in there, and like I said, the very more character-driven than maybe most typical quote-unquote scary movies. Yes, it does definitely have a similar feel to other alien movies we've seen. If I remember correctly, I believe this was actually based on a video game, because I remember them making a big deal that was the first successful adaptation of a game where the movie actually did decent and did well, and they actually had a decent plot. And, since then we've had, the Doom movies, which tried to, kind of mirror the same success, but not with the same success. Because this one actually had a little more intelligence than the Doom movies and to it, and definitely better characterization in it. So it's one of the few that didn't get adapted well. So all in all, just a good kind of horror kind of film. Enjoyed it very much. Back to net, this is KB9SO.
Thank you, Sean. We got a few thumbs up here. Next up is KB5BZWJ. You didn't see all of it, but you saw a lot of it. What did you think of what you saw from KE5I6?
All right, this is KE5BZW. I actually ended up renting this film. So it's not that I ran out of time to see it on Peacock. I just ran out of time today. I had to take a quick little nap before tonight. But anyway, no, it was the fact that the animals don't really seem to have a food source before they, plunder the humans. That's kind of not really believable, but that's not really why you watch the film, I figure. I did enjoy the parts I have seen so far. I kind of hate that I'm kind of spoiling myself by listening to this and that, or spoiling the movie for myself by listening to that. But I mean, what's going to happen that isn't already predictable. It's just more about the how you get there than the actual destination, which is kind of obvious. I don't know. Anyway, I'll just head to the next one. KG5BZW.
All right, thank you, Jay. You went out and rented it, no less. Okay, very good. Well, sorry you didn't get a chance to see it all, but because of other pressing circumstances. But in any case, well, I have my opinion on that too. Let me go ahead and ask. Do we have additional check-ins at this point? We're talking about the movie Pitch Black with Vin Diesel, the 2000 science fiction film done by Polygram Films. Yes, people who did Records did Polygram Films before they bought out by Universal. Anyone like to join us? Please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see Pitch Black? Okay, maybe a small group, although we had some latecomers last week. My thoughts on the film, I did enjoy it. I agree with the comments that people made about the film. Overall, I thought the idea of the whole thing was fun. We've had this premise before. Aliens certainly is an example of that. But the thing about Aliens is that when you watch that film, and it was, or filmed, in the original, you couldn't stop the alien creature until the very end, and then even then you couldn't really stop them. In this one, at least, they're acting more like a an animal that it has a blind spot, which is interesting because, the Riddick character is able to take that and use it as an advantage. He notices it almost immediately because of his own enhanced vision. I thought that was pretty interesting and cool. We will get into the characters, but I think they help drive the story forward quite nicely. There's not a lot of plot to it. You've got people that are going to get ticked off, as you fully expect. There's only going to be a subset. You're wondering how many will end up. There's going to be at least one and maybe two, because we're not going to kill off Vin Diesel. I mean, he's the star of the show. He's not going to die. So wouldn't it be something if everybody survived and the star of the show didn't at the end of the movie? Wow, he really tried to help us out, but in the end, it's really sad what happened to him. And it was his last day of work, too, before retirement, that sort of thing. That would have been fun. But I like the idea of the creatures. I thought the creatures were really cool and convincing and very scary. So when they're going and these things would show up, more than one, they really had a really good feel. And I know that falls into the kind of the science fiction elements we were talking about for special effects. But quite honestly, I thought they were quite good. I enjoyed them, especially for the year 2000. They we're still working through some of these things at the time. I remember we were talking about that was 19. Sorry, getting ahead of myself from last week. And that movie came out in 1990, so 10 years of special effects. So I was going to compare, but you can't. Let's see. Ultimately, storyline, we knew they had to get off the rock. Somebody had to get off the rock. The sacrificial parts were somewhat predictable. I actually cared about the characters a little bit on this one. Overall, I thought they were all somewhat appealing. Obviously, I keep talking about characters, but it's a character-driven thing. So let me just back it out a little bit and just simply state that with the character-driven plot, they were able to move the story forward. There was enough action in it, and there were some interesting things with trying to do the light stuff. There was the common things. Why did they get that? And you're going to get killed if you do. Let me go back and get that person. Of course, if you do, you're probably going to get killed. Don't walk that way, and they do, and they get killed. So what is the bottom line? Don't do those things. Don't walk away. But that's what happened. So that was sort of the typical plot contrivance that you would find in a film. But other than that, though, I thought it was very enjoyable, even though it was somewhat predictable. But I wasn't sure who the final count would be, who would actually survive. So I'm going to hold on the others because of the character part. I think is really kind of interesting. Let's see here. Bill, I kind of want to call on you and call you out because you didn't get to see the film. I'll tell you what. I'll come back to you at the very end and see if you've got any comments about the comments. That's maybe the best way to do it. So I'll come back to you on the next round, see what you think. So, WB50ZL, Miss Brenda, your comments on now characterization. What do you think about the characters in this film?
This is WB50ZL. Well, there were some really interesting people in this, kind of different characters that, like the Muslim holy man, and just everybody in general are kind of unique. One thing I found interesting, it was a little hard to nail down the characters at some point. Vin Diesel's character, Riddick, you really didn't know if he was a really bad guy or maybe not quite that bad. And they kept throwing you off, showing you at some point that he was just had no redeeming qualities. At other points he did. But I think he was a very appealing character. you want to believe he's done all bad, and so you hang on to everything that shows some kind of nobility so that you can believe in him. And Fry was another one of those. She's ready to just kill all those people in the beginning. Not very noble, but in the end, she was a little different. Was they willing to sacrifice herself? So it's a pretty quick transformation in the course of a movie. And some of the other people, you just really weren't sure where they were coming from, or you were, there weren't many true heroes in this movie. The actors were pretty good. Vin Diesel, of course, he is what he is, and he's good at it. And all the others were, they were interesting. I'm sure they were all believable, but it made for an interesting story. All right, back to net, W50ZL.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Next up is W5EVB. David, your thoughts on characterization?
Well, yeah, the characters were good. They were varied enough to keep it interesting. And Vin Diesel actually isn't as ripped and muscular as he looks in this movie. It's just a fashion trick of a well-fitting tank top that gives that impression. He's really just a pretty average build. But yeah, his character is what drives the movie. And you're not sure if, at the beginning, you're not sure if he's a sociopath, a psychopath, or just somebody who doesn't care. And we kind of get that impression toward the end. He can take the other people or leave them. It doesn't really matter to him unless it provides him a little entertainment, which is why he decided, to go back and allow her to go get the other people. But that was a bit of a surprise to me when the heroine dies. And you finally see a breakthrough in the emotion in Riddick's character at that point, and it was more of a like he was duped. It's like she was supposed to save the others, not me, and that's the part that got him. It's like he didn't want to be protected; he wanted to be his own independent guy, and suddenly somebody has just saved his life, and that's a novel to him. One thing that was a little annoying was in the characters, especially the Cole Haan character, was the unnecessary cursing, which is evident to me of an unsophisticated script. If you can't deliver a line dramatically and emphatically without throwing in a colorful metaphor or two, then it's not really a well-written dialogue, I think. But the aliens, they were kind of interesting. Definitely, they were like mini queen aliens. But the interesting technology, it was probably a combination of Doppler radar and difference imaging. They're detecting motion. And I thought that was pretty novel, and some of the visual effects that went along with that were pretty neat. But yeah, the characters were pretty strong for a movie like this, and variegated enough to keep it interesting. W5EBB.
All right, thank you, David. And you reminded me of some comments I wanted to make on the storyline, too, that I forgot, but that's okay. Next up is KB9SOK. Sean, your thoughts on the characterization for Pitch Black from your 2000 KE5 ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, I think it's been pretty well said. Vin Diesel's character was I think he played it well. It fit him. It kind of kept you guessing. As has been said, at the end, was he really a good or bad guy? And I think we did definitely see some change in his character as it went through, along with the pilot. Obviously at the beginning, she was willing to sacrifice the other people. But then again, who knows what you would do if it's some kind of crazy situation where you truly believe the only way to save you and your co-pilot was to let the rest of go, what would you do? You know, so it is a, you know, it didn't seem like she hesitated too much, but yeah, obviously that she regretted that. You can tell very quickly that she was willing to do that. And obviously, in the end, she was doing the right thing. Yeah, very interesting character. The other ones, you know, it was, you know, obviously with the holy man and his children, and you know, making their pilgrimage, and you know, it's and then the cop too that really just turned out not to really be a cop, but you know, a bounty hunter, I think, more or less. You know, I think he was probably the most predictable, probably the most boring character as far as I was concerned, because he was just, you could tell from the get-go he was not a good guy, and he definitely proved that as it went on. And so yeah, it was very interesting. You know, it was definitely an eclectic group, and kept it going, and just overall, just pretty good for this kind of a movie. Yeah, it's not a deep thinker. It's not a, you know, it's not going to win any awards, but it still, you know, had enough characterization to it and enough story that it was enjoyable. And yeah, it is pretty impressive that they've done it on such a small budget, and it turned out as well as it did. Anyway, back to Nat. This is KB9SOK.
All right, thank you, Sean. Good comments. Next up is Jay, KG5BZW. Jay, your thoughts on characterization? Do you have a favorite from KE5ICS?
Yeah, I'd say the film can. Excuse me. Film can make you actually care about the characters before they were killed off, and it I have to admit I wasn't exactly. I mean, the order of the kill off was a little bit surprise for what I saw. Yeah, I figured I don't know, maybe it's something about these films, but you know, the elder, the rich guy that had all the goods and all. It seemed that he actually had some wisdom too, which is not exactly typical for films. Now, granted, I haven't seen all of it, so maybe he does something stupid in the part I haven't seen. But yeah, all the kids and it's hard for me to say because it's not like I really cared a whole lot about everybody, but I just cared just a little, just enough. And then when they die, it's like, oh, okay. Okay. I'll have to like rethink about what things are going. I don't know. Maybe I don't really feel qualified to say much more than that. In fact, I think I've said too much because I haven't seen the whole film, and how, you know, the second part can unravel the first part. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that. KG5BZW.
All right, thank you, Jay. And I'm going to go back up to Bill, W5DLT. I'll let you listen to the evidence as it was presented. Bill, what do you think? Does it sound like this movie is a hit or a miss? Would you go and watch this film based on what we told you? I know you'd watch it no matter what, but does this sound like something that would appeal to you as a film? And does the character sound like something you might be interested in watching and investing 2 hours and 10 minutes of your time from KE5ICS?
This is Bill. I think I might. I was actually looking it up while you guys were talking here, and I do see it on Amazon. So I'm going to look into that. I think I can rent it. Hard though, because I'm hearing a bunch of characters being killed off. So that's always. But I might take a look at it. Yeah, it is sad on the language because I always love a good movie, and sometimes that language takes it away. As much there. But, I do think some of your scripts, how much colorful language is used, is how the script writers were, and a lot of movies with good dialogue don't resort to that. But we'll see. I'm checking sources right now for that movie to see. 5 BLT, back to net control.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Thanks for your comment. I actually think you'll enjoy the movie. I really do. And I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to see it before the deadline, but in any case, I think you'll enjoy it. For me, characterization. Well, obviously the most interesting character in all this is going to be the Riddick character, and that's what the movie is focused upon, of course. The other characters were quite colorful, but the point of the thing is that we don't really know who this guy is, and we don't know really how he works out. Towards the end of the film, we're thinking, okay, he's leaving, and he's going to be, an unsympathetic character. We can't have that if you're going to have the guy who stars in the movie is supposed to be the good guy, right? He's supposed to be able to help out. And I think that's curious because we were talking about the Terminator at the very beginning of the film. I think David mentioned it. But, when you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was in the movie, he played the Terminator, but he played the Terminator because he was supposed to terminate somebody. He was the bad guy in the first film, and they bring him back because everybody wanted to see a sequel to it. Well, if he's going to be, now he's an actor and he is liked, so we make him the good guy. So that is what's happening here. You got to make Vin Diesel's character somewhat appealing in a way. So you look at something like he's sort of a Clint Eastwood, but he's actually able to push the character a little bit further in that there's enough mystery, but there's enough of a somewhat of a thoughtful process going on. I mean, he could have played this very wooden, and he didn't. And I think he did fine. Now, is it super complex character? No. Is it going to be award-winning stuff? No. But is it convincing? Yeah, I think so. I think he carries it, and the way he interacts with the other characters matters. And I think he does it very, very well. He's scary at the very beginning. We don't know what he's going to do. And later on, as we get to know him, we say, oh, well, he's not so bad, or is he? We really don't know. And even at the end of the film, we still wonder. I mean, he seems to be transformed, and that's one of the things you're supposed to have in a movie, is to be your main character, Riddick, is somehow transformed and made better in some way. If he's made worse, we really don't want that character, the anti-hero, to the point where you just like him. You've got to like him for some reason. So I think that he was played pretty well in that regard. Let's see here. The dealer of antiquities, who was he? Lewis, or Paris. I'm sorry, the actor's name was Louis Fitzgerald. Paris Ogilvy, the intergalactic arts dealer. He was kind of entertaining. I liked him until he did something stupid. I thought, oh, good, our comic relief is disappearing and going to be killed, and sure enough, he was. Don't do stupid things. Don't do Timmy things from Timmy and Lassie. I'm going to go and get brought all the booze that everybody got to drink, and he did actually offer it up somewhere along the line. I like all his armor and everything that he's using from, hundreds of years ago in order to make it work, or his African stash that he had he's taking to other worlds. And then also he's sitting out there relaxing while everybody else is trying to figure out where they're going to find the water. Wake me up when you guys find something. That was pretty entertaining. The characters, the kids, I thought were pretty good. The one, they were, trying to act and react, and the one who was mimicking Riddick was entertaining. I don't know, I thought that was kind of fun. It sort of reminded me a little bit of Lawrence of Arabia with the two kids that ended up ballets for Lawrence in that film. That's what the refer back to was to me in the film, and I thought that was, it worked out, and I think they probably did the same thing. Let's see, what else? Well, we lost the captain. He wasn't any good. The female lead, she was all right. I think that was played rather well. She had to hold her own with Diesel and the thing, and Riddick as a character, and did quite well. I think that you've got to have some pretty good, bigger than life acting that seems believable in a situation like that. The least liked character, of course, is John, who is the bounty hunter, and that makes perfect sense to me. I didn't like him either. But isn't that the point? You're supposed to have somebody, if you've got somebody that you'd like to see killed, it's because the character is not well liked, and you'd like to see him go away. Or the character can be boring. We know that. That can happen as well. Please kill that character. They're making me really tired. I can want to take a nap. The priest, not priest, but he was pretty good. Liked him. Worked out fairly well, although his comments back and forth with Critic I thought were quite interesting. The metaphysical aspects to it, and then arguing back and forth quickly, I thought was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. Remember this moment, which was one of the lines. I guess you could do that every day. You could do that and enter it into conversation. Remember this moment, which in fact, I have a bunch of people that I work with that are we do film stuff, so I think I'm going to add that to our repertoire of things, such as it was only a matter of time before I was the monkey from Sunset Boulevard is one of our favorite lines. So we'll add remember this moment as part of some of the more quotable quotes, one of the quotable quotes in the movie. I'm looking through the list here to see if I have anybody else here that I really felt really, really for, and I think the aliens had stronger characters, but these were not bad. All right, I'm milking this one to death. I think this is going to be a really quick net tonight, but we'll find out. We're at 11:20. Last time we only came up 10 minutes short, but let me go ahead and see if anybody else is out there. If anybody else wanted to check in this evening, tonight's movie is Black from 2000. Diesel film landing on this alien world. It gets dark and monsters come out at night. Anyone want to join us? Please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see the film? Well, indeed, this may be a short net tonight. Let's go up and third round. This would be anything you want to talk about on the film. This could be OZL. Brenda, what did you think of any of the above that I just mentioned? Or if you've got something else you want to mention about the film you missed the first time around, that's fine. Go ahead and tell us now. WB5OZL from KE5ICF.
This is WB5OZL. I thought special effects, I thought the spaceships were pretty good, and whatever those flying things were like some kind of dinosaur or something. So obviously that was CG'd in, but it was pretty believable and pretty scary. But the spaceships were good, so I give them high marks for special effects. I still don't know how they managed to make it in that kind of a budget. I looked up Vin Diesel on IMDb, and this movie is not in the list, and I don't understand why. Sometimes there's some story there that, an actor wants to distance himself from a movie or have his name, or not just an actor, maybe a director or something, or screenwriter want to have their name removed from it. But it is definitely not in the list, and I do not understand why. So maybe do some more research. Maybe it's written up somewhere. Other movies are produced, are listed in here. They've got the Chronicles of Riddick. It was released in 2004. Maybe they put it out with a different name. I think this was originally put out on video, not the movies, but for rent. So I don't know. What else about this movie? It was paced well. You just couldn't pull yourself away from it because you want to see what happens. And it never lost its timing, pacing. And, I think that's good. That kills so many movies. And dialogue was pretty good. The music was okay. On the whole, I'd say it's a pretty good movie. All right, back to net, WB5OZL.
Okie dokie. Very good. Next up is David, W5EDB. David, anything you want to say about this movie that you haven't said already or you think that needs to be said? Go ahead, from KE5ICF.
Well, going back to characters real quick, I meant to mention the heroine in the movie was played by, and this is her full name, Radha Rani Amber Indigo Ananda Mitchell. And she was okay, but she just didn't get the strength in the character that I think she should have presented. And I think, I hate to be too superficial, but sometimes it's the physical presence. Now, take Sigourney Weaver, which all the alien type female characters are emulating or should emulate Sigourney Weaver. I mean, she set the standard. She's the prototype. She is also 6'1", and this Radha Mitchell is 5'6", and in Prometheus, Noomi Rapace is 5'4", and you just can't get that same presence unless you have the physical stature that goes along with it. And you also couldn't get, let's say, Dudley Moore to play the Vin Diesel, Riddick character. That wouldn't work either. So, so we have three sons, kind of a bluish one and a reddish-orange one. And you would think that at some point in time, when all the suns are in the sky at the same time, you would get a normal white light as the combination of those. Instead, we always see it biased orange or blue with a gamma way turned way up. But a number of movies in that era used color tint or color filtering to give us a surreal impression, sort of biased toward the blue or green tints. The Matrix, Event Horizon, and others come to mind. I thought the CGI effects were pretty good. Every 22 years, not 17, there's an eclipse and a bloodthirsty alien cicada horde emerge, And the effects did remind me a little bit of the Alien 3 swimming aliens. The music I thought was good because I don't remember it. That means it was incidental and unobtrusive, and that's just what it should be for an action movie like this. W5EBB.
Sorry, thank you, David. You always got great comments. I really enjoy your comments on throughout, our discovery on our discussion about movies. The one thing, though, I'll have to disagree with you on is, but I can agree with you, is on music. Yes, if it is unobtrusive, then it's successful, but not always. I will say this, though. One of the things, and I'm just going to diverge on this one a little bit, only because it's kind of a favorite topic of mine with movies is soundtracks. When Alfred Hitchcock did the movie The Birds, he had hired, of course, his musical composer, whose name actually is escaping me now. I can't believe I'm doing this. And they had an argument. He said, I don't need to have music in my movie. So he didn't. And if you ever watch The Birds, there is absolutely not a single note of music in it. It's all the screeching from the birds themselves. There's no music at all, even the credits. And it was surprising because I never noticed it, which is amazing because I was, motion picture soundtrack. So who knows? I mean, it's crazy how that could all work out. But that's the way it is. Next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, anything you want to talk about on this film? Special effects, music, lighting, lack of lighting, characterization, something you missed that you wanted to say? Anything you want. KB9SOK from the KE5ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Nothing really special to add. I think the effects were good, especially for what they spent. I think the effective division of the things was very effective. The ships were good. I think the overall sets were good. I would agree that, maybe the sun part was a little overblown, but definitely gave that effect of, I think, what they were going for. All in all, pretty good. Yeah, same thing for music. Like you said, wasn't intrusive. I think it was well balanced. The audio was good. Just all around, pretty well produced. Is it on the same level as last week's movie? No, but it's still a decent, enjoyable movie. Just well paced. Just one of those movies that's just kind of fun to watch. It did have a little bit of depth in it, so it definitely was, I think, a pretty good start for 2022. Compared to some of those 2 weeks ago, we had officially the worst movie we've ever seen. And last week was probably one of the strongest movies we've seen. And now we've got one, at least a good start for the year. So, back to that. Give me 9, that's okay.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Good comments as well. Next up, Jay, KG5BZWJ. What else have you got? Any parting shots, additional comments about Hitch from 2000?
That was weird. WCW here. For whatever reason, I am not prepared. Every single time they think it comes to me. I don't know, the only other thing I can really, I don't want to like the things I don't like, but it's just because it's so bugging to me. Oh, the big clip. That supposedly happens every once in, 22 years. But we're so close to the other planet. I don't know. It affects me. It just trying to wait a lot of stuff. I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to happen. I mean, there's this thing called orbital resonance that, our solar system maintains, like to have certain harmonics in our orbit. It just seems to work out that way. Even though it's not completely, let's just call it Newtonian. I remember reading articles back in the 90s about how some physicists were trying to model the whole solar system in terms of how each body moves around and affects the orbits of others. But overall, there was a bit of fluctuation, but it didn't have. I don't remember the whole details. Like I said, this is over 20 years ago. Heck, maybe even 30 years ago. Besides the point. Anyway, I didn't really notice the music either, which I would agree with David, but yeah, man, Indiana Jones, any of the first few Indiana Jones without, great, I'm not a part, John Williams music, I don't think it'd be the same, so you definitely know that music, so it's not bad, but it's just good enough. Like I said, I've seen it. I will probably see the rest of it. I still have that rental. Yep. Next person. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I was looking here at Graham Ravel, who did the music. He's done a bunch of different movies through the years. Some of them well-known. Some of them not so much. The Crow, Street Fighter, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, Dusk Till Dawn, Craft, The Saint, the 1997 film Negotiator, Bride of Chucky, Titan AE, Clovercroft Tomb Raider, Daredevil, Freddy vs. Jason, and Sin City are ones that are listed here. And he has received, he's an 8-time recipient of the BMI Film Music Award, including the Richard Kirk Career Achievement Award. So while he may not show up as Academy Award material, he certainly is much above average. He's from, let's see here, this is from the Auckland. Headed Auckland. Oh, this is in Australia, okay. It says here, and he's involved in a band, of course, everybody's in a band, right? Industrial music. So, I don't know, didn't know anything about him, but I think he's interesting. He's been compared with Hans Zimmer and Mike Eisen, which are good choices. Ennio Morricone, Bernard Herrmann, that's the guy I couldn't think of earlier. Oh, well, at any rate, so he's got some good street cred here. Now, some of the stuff that I thought was interesting, I'm always interested in the special effects and how they play out, what they look like. There are more than often than not in science fiction films, a lot of equipment that's spaceships are usually repurposed items like equalizers from, or light boards or sound boards or things like that when you need something. And fortunately, I did not see that in this film. could be industrial equipment that would have worked just fine on the spaceship. There's a little more tactile and more built up as far as, clicky buttons and things. But overall, I thought it felt correct. I loved the solar doohinkuses, whatever they were supposed to develop to create power, much like whatever that device was. They always said, when you did get heat and it started spinning around, that's what they had because it was solar design. But I thought that the machines and busy boxes and everything that they did looked pretty good. I really enjoyed that a lot. So it really set a feel for the film with a little bit of practical, let me read that. A practical machinist type of build, heavy equipment, things like that, along with a more modern sensibility into the future type of thing. So that worked out, I thought, pretty well. The vehicles, the buildings seemed credible. There wasn't anything in there that I didn't think wouldn't have made any sense on another world somewhere. And it being beat down by everything going on. Nah, I couldn't see that. I could see that as happening over a period of time. And they said, 20 years had passed? I think it was 15 years? I don't know, something like that. Whatever it was when they did the core sample. Now, a couple of comments. Doggy with a suspicious look on their face. I don't think they like the really cold weather, and I had to grab her and get her outside before something interesting happened, and we all know what that would be. So, overall, I thought the film looked really good, and I did see bits and pieces of the one that came after that. I think it was some of the same technical people with a bigger budget. I think they knew what they were doing, and they know what they're doing. Oh, one other thing, reading about Vin Diesel, I didn't know much about him, I still don't, but I was reading the biography a little bit here while we were talking, and the guy has some acting chops that he's had since he was a kid, so he's done theater and other things, nothing, super fantastic Shakespearean type stuff, but I figured that he was kind of picked as just some guy that looked the part, and here, let's put him in a costume, and then suddenly he's, he sounds like he can act, but in reality he was an actor, and they did all this stuff, and he's playing the role, so I thought he's got an interesting background when he was growing up with a mixed family and interesting environment. I think that he draws from some of his original, his life experiences, which I like to read about because it sounds like he's quite an interesting guy. So I'm not a Vin Diesel follower, so I didn't think really about him as anything other than the Fast and the Furious, and those are movies that I probably am never going to go see. They just kind of seem formulaic to me. And I've not seen any of the other action-adventure things he's done. So this is really my first introduction to anything he's done. I thought he did a good job. So I'm going to give him credit for that. In my view, I'd go and watch another film. I wish he'd pick better subject matter, but I mean, you take what you get and you take the money and run. In some cases, and he might do those things. I'd like to see him in a more rigorous role just to see how he plays out. A movie that's good, that probably is a flop, that needs critically acclaimed, that's the type of thing that I'd like to see. All right, let's see here. Let me ask, does anybody have any final comments they want to bring to the net this evening? Anybody have anything they want to say, or something that they forgot to and are now want to bring it to the fore, or any of the late check-ins? I can find it, I'll go ahead and post it as the movie, as a free streaming movie from somewhere. But if not, then I think I'm debating. We did one film, Soylent Green, which ironically is supposed to take place in the future, the year 2022, or the 1959 movie called First Man into Space, which is a weird film that I don't think we've seen, but it falls into that Z category of maybe not so good, but it's got a lot of hardware and stuff to it. So I'm going to make a choice. Easy, medium, medium. Let's do First Man into Space from 1959. If you'd like to sign up, and by the way, apologies to anybody out there. I have not gotten updates for the Afterglow movie request on Facebook, where people said, sign me up. I didn't see them, and then I found two of them that go back a couple of weeks. And I go to that site all the time to update it, and I've never gotten presented with the fact that people want it in. So my apologies to folks that are out there. I know a couple of them actually sign in really late. Go check it. You should be able to get in now. So next week will be First Man into Space from 1959. And if you got any choices or ideas that you want to please do so. Check around if there's streaming movies out there. That's what I do, is I go through all the different streaming services to see if I can find something that's maybe new or different that we might want to see that might actually be good. So if you find something, shoot me an email. Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-Ray, KE5ICX at yahoo.com. And I'll put it on the list. I nearly always do. If you find something that we've not seen before and we'd like to see it, by all means. If you got a passion movie that you like, send it to me and we'll see if we can get it in the list. I will most definitely put it in, especially if it's free and available through streaming services, usually with ads. That's it. If anybody has anything, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to close it down. I want to thank everybody who participated.